with the lay-in, and Luka Doncic with the full corner on the buzzer. Are you kidding me? The young man, 18 years old, drills it from full court.
Got it.
They're in the corner, Luka! Goes in! How did he do it? That is Luka Magic! Luka splits a double, keeps the dribble alive, all the way to the hoop, scoop to the hoop with a ball! Point 71 and 72!
He's one of the greatest ballers in modern NBA history.
Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good!
A basketball prodigy-turned-national hero who lived up to his billing and then some, achieving more in the first 5 years of his NBA career than most players do in a lifetime.
Left side of the floor, Luka's three is a ring, and get it to Boston again! Luka Magic on a Saturday night!
From Ljubljana, Slovenia to the NBA's inner circle of superstars. From one of the most hyped prospects in basketball history to one of the most accomplished. This is the story behind Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic was born February 28, 1999 to former hurdler and dancer Miriam Potterman and pro baller turned coach Sasha Doncic. Young Luka proved to be a natural in his father's sport of choice, flinging a ball at a miniature hoop in his bedroom beginning at the age of 1, according to his mother. Doncic couldn't have avoided the game if he tried. Not that it seemed he wanted to. He was the godson of NBA big man and eventual champion Rasho Nesterovic, and Sasha himself was no slouch, capturing a Slovenian League championship with a young Goran Dragic as his teammate. Doncic would sweep the floors during his dad's games. So close to the action, he could feel it, smell it, taste it. And no one doubted Luka would eventually find himself shining on the court. At 8 years old, the advanced youngster was playing with Union Olympia's under-12 team and practicing with the under-14 team. By the age of 13, he was loaned out to Real Madrid's under-14 team for a tournament in Spain, where it became obvious to European youth basketball observers that Slovenia was no longer big enough for Doncic's talent and potential. Doncic won MVP at that tournament, and later in 2012, signed a 5-year contract with Real Madrid that took the 13-year-old away from his small but proud country of 2 million people and landed him in the sports world's most famous youth academy. The following year, a 14-year-old Doncic earned MVP honors in the under-16 Spanish championship, and the accolades just kept on coming, thanks to a level of talent and on-court ingenuity far beyond his years. I was always training and playing with older kids who had much more experience than me, Doncic told EuroLeague.net in 2017. Many of them were bigger and faster than me too, so I had to beat them with my brain. As a 15 and 16-year-old, Doncic racked up a number of tournament championships and MVP awards at the under-18 level, eventually making his pro debut for Real Madrid just 2 months after his 16th birthday. At an age when most are just trying to get their driver's licenses or navigating the second half of their high school careers, Doncic was carving out a legitimate rotation role on a Real Madrid team boasting 6 former NBAers.
Doncic, he'll try it again. Number 3 up and number 3 in after he missed the first one by Luka Doncic. If there's one thing he can do, it's put the ball in the basket, but he can pass. We've seen him rebound, 16 years old.
The 16-year-old even logged time in a 2015 preseason game against the Celtics. Every seemingly monumental leap was topped by something bigger almost immediately. And it was during the 2016-17 season that a 17-year-old Doncic really began to capture the broader basketball world's attention and imagination, leading Real Madrid to a EuroLeague Final Four berth. As an encore, he teamed with Dragic, his father's old teammate, now the younger Doncic's national team roommate, to lead Slovenia to a stunning triumph in the 2017 Eurobasket tournament, earning an all-tournament team selection at 18 years old.
Pulls back again, puts up a 3, good! Again with Porzingis. Don't tell me this man's not going number 1.
It was abundantly clear that Doncic was not your average international prospect, and he concluded the European leg of his career with a bang. In leading Madrid to national and continental glory, the teenager captured Spanish League MVP, EuroLeague MVP, and EuroLeague Final Four MVP awards in 2017-18, cementing himself as the undisputed best player in the second best professional league in the world before he was even of legal drinking age in the United States. Doncic also recorded only the 7th triple-double in Spanish League history that season, finishing with 17 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists on perfect shooting in only 22 minutes of action against Real Betis. With the hype around the Slovenian sensation reaching a fever pitch, Doncic entered the 2018 NBA draft. In what was ludicrous to anyone paying attention then, and has only become more absurd in hindsight, he was not the first player selected from that 2018 class. A decision that was doubly shocking considering that the Phoenix Suns' newly hired head coach happened to be Doncic's national team boss. Yet, with the first overall pick, the Suns passed on the phenom to select Arizona big man DeAndre Ayton. Long-suffering Kings fans then watched helplessly as Sacramento selected Marvin Bagley with the second pick. Finally, the Atlanta Hawks drafted Doncic third overall, only to trade him to Dallas in exchange for the eventual fifth pick, Trae Young, and a 2019 first-rounder that turned into Cam Reddish. Unsurprisingly, the three executives who passed on Doncic were out of a job by the time Luka was on his second NBA contract. Just as he had as a child in Slovenia and as a teenager in Spain, Doncic proved prolific and wise beyond his years from the jump as an NBAer, averaging 21.2 points, 7.8 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal in his first season with the Mavericks, numbers no other rookie has ever matched. That made it easy to forget he was still a teenager. After acquitting himself well in his first matchup with childhood idol LeBron James, Doncic waited outside the Lakers' locker room for a signed jersey from the King. Unsurprisingly, Doncic took home Rookie of the Year honors by earning 98 of 100 first-place votes, with Young receiving the other two. Doncic's immediate impact made it clear the Mavs not only had a star in their midst, but a supernova around which everything could orbit for the foreseeable future. A month into his debut season, Mavs fans at The Ringer created the greatest NBA-themed remix in music history, poking fun at Doncic's inexplicable draft position and lack of NCAA experience in the process.
Well, his game was strong, but we needed proof. We hadn't seen him play Mizzou, but his playmaking and passing overthrew ya. And he led the break, it wasn't fair. His step back three flew through the air. It fell and Dallas traded up for Luka. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Though Doncic's brilliance wasn't enough to deliver a playoff berth in Dirk Nowitzki's final season, Dallas was able to transition seamlessly from one future Hall of Famer to another, and Doncic was only getting started. His presence immediately expedited the team's rebuild, with the Mavs trading for injured big man Kristaps Porzingis during the 2018-19 season, then re-signing the former All-Star ahead of the 2019-20 campaign. With a more competitive team around him, Doncic's sophomore season saw him make the leap from up-and-comer to full-blown superstar. He became the youngest Western Conference Player of the Month when he took home the honor for the opening month of the campaign, broke Michael Jordan's post-merger record for most consecutive 20.5 rebound, 5 assist games, broke Jason Kidd's franchise record for career triple-doubles, and earned his first All-Star and All-NBA selections. For his regular season exploits, Doncic became the first player since Tim Duncan 21 years earlier to earn an All-NBA first-team nod within his first 2 seasons, and the second youngest player ever to finish top 5 in MVP voting. That regular season proved to be nothing compared to what he had in store for his postseason debut. After leading Dallas to its first winning season in 4 years during the pandemic-interrupted campaign, Doncic and the 7th-seeded Mavs matched up with the heavily favored Clippers and reigning Finals MVP Kawhi Leonard in the first round. Naturally, Doncic proved he was made for such a stage. Despite a Game 1 loss, Doncic opened the series with a 42-point outburst that was the highest-scoring playoff debut in league history. With the Mavs down 2-1 in the series, a 20-year-old Doncic put together the kind of unforgettable performance even some Hall of Famers go their whole careers without. Just days after famously being called a bitch-ass white boy by Clippers big man Montrezl Harrell, with Porzingis sidelined and Doncic on a bad ankle no less, the youngster poured in 43 points, 17 rebounds, and 13 assists to help Dallas even the series in the most dramatic of fashions.
Back to Doncic. Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Doncic wins the game at the buzzer!
What a performance by Luka and the Mavericks. Mama, there goes that man.
Doncic's heroics weren't enough against the Clippers, as the Mavs fell in 6 games. But how could Dallas not dream of brighter days with Luka Magic in the air? Despite Porzingis beginning the 2020-21 season on the shelf due to another knee procedure, and the Mavs dealing with a litany of absences overall, Doncic kept the team afloat. And then some. With an improved shooting season from deep boosting his overall efficiency, Doncic averaged roughly 28 points, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds to carry Dallas to a 42-30 record and the team's first Southwest Division title in 11 years. That finish, and the West's 5th seed, set up another first-round clash with the 4th-seeded Clippers. Just like the season prior, Doncic was up to the task, even if his team wasn't. Despite racing out to a 2-0 series lead and building a commanding lead early in Game 3, the Mavs imploded against the superior Clippers, eventually losing the series in 7 games. Doncic posted 46 points and 14 assists in the Game 7 loss and averaged nearly 36 points, 10 assists, and 8 rebounds for the series, but it wasn't enough, especially with a reportedly disgruntled Porzingis struggling to make an impact in a secondary role. After the first-round collapse, beloved Mavs championship coach Rick Carlisle resigned, landing Doncic in some hot water. The thing about being good enough to expedite the process and raise expectations is that you also expedite the superstar cycle, which inevitably means the endless praise gives way to criticism, nitpicking, and endless questions about whether you have what it takes to get your team over the hump. In the case of Doncic, that meant questions about his conditioning, defensive effort, and propensity for whining to the officials rather than getting back in transition. Doncic found an escape that summer by once again donning the colors of his native Slovenia, propelling the nation to its first Olympic basketball berth with a 31-point triple-double against Lithuania in the final of a qualifying tournament.
And Slovenia have done something that no Slovenian national team has ever done. They will go to an Olympic Games. Just watch and enjoy.
That Luka Magic carried over to Tokyo, where Doncic opened the Olympic tournament with a 48-point explosion against Argentina, matching the second highest scoring output of any man in Olympic history. Slovenia ended up finishing 4th after a Doncic triple-double wasn't enough to beat France in the semis, but another prolific and historic chapter of his international basketball odyssey had been written. He also got his revenge on France a year later, with a 47-point performance in a FIBA Eurobasket victory, which marked the highest single-game scoring output of any Eurobasket player in 65 years.
Doncic gets the bump, and he is going to the line, and one. How many times has he asked for a foul and has made layup? Albasi called for the foul, and now the chance once again of MVP.
Team success at the NBA level finally came during the 2021-22 campaign. Doncic turned in another tremendous season, averaging roughly 28, 9, and 9 for a Mavs team, now coached by Jason Kidd, that cracked 50 wins for the first time in 7 years. Though his lackluster partnership with Porzingis came to an end when the big man was traded to Washington ahead of the 2022 deadline, Doncic's Mavs found a better supporting star in ascendant guard Jalen Brunson. Brunson even kept Dallas afloat while a calf injury held Doncic out of the first 3 games of a first-round playoff series against Utah. After returning to help the Mavs win their first playoff series in 11 years, Doncic had plenty left in the tank for a second-round matchup against the top-seeded Suns. After dropping the first 2 games in Phoenix, the Mavs roared back in Dallas to even the series. The Suns' blowout victory in Game 5 proved to be the turning point, just not in the way anyone could have imagined. During that 30-point victory, Suns star Devin Booker took a somewhat playful jab at Doncic. With his team now facing elimination against the defending conference champions and #1 overall seed, and with Booker's Suns seemingly trolling him, Doncic appeared cool as a cucumber, leaving the court after that Game 5 loss with a Jordan-esque observation. Doncic then took matters into his own hands, totaling 68 points, 21 rebounds, 12 assists, and 6 steals over the final 2 games of the series, which the Mavs won by a combined 60 points. In the midst of a Game 7 romp, an exchange between Doncic and Booker birthed one of the social media era's enduring memes, the ultimate "how do you like me now" moment for Doncic, addressed both to Booker and the franchise that passed on him 4 years earlier. The Mavs would fall in 5 games to the eventual champions, the Dynastic Warriors, in the conference finals. But Doncic's playoff run was the stuff of legend. In only 15 games that spring, Doncic set a postseason record by leading his team in points, rebounds, and assists 10 different times. From a team perspective, that 2022 postseason served as the peak of Doncic's NBA career thus far rather than a springboard for the Mavs. Losing Brunson in free agency didn't help, as Dallas had botched the opportunity to sign the guard for cheaper a year earlier. With even more on his plate in 2022-23, Doncic remained impossibly prolific, but it meant little in the standings. After leading the league in usage rate in each of the previous 2 seasons, Doncic upped his usage again that year, finishing with averages of 32 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists on 61% true shooting. Over the last 9 days of 2022, Doncic scored at least 50 points in 3 of 5 games, dropping an unfathomable 60 points, 21 rebounds, 10 assists, 2 steals, and a block on the Knicks in one of those contests.
Shocks me about this game.
And that Drew rim, it's still loose. Luka got it back. He did it. An improbable comeback by Dallas to tie it with 1 second left. It's unbelievable. It is a miracle. It's overtime. Stranger things have happened.
Still, with the Mavs hovering around 500 and Brunson emerging as a genuine star in New York, questions were being asked about whether Doncic's ball dominance and Dallas's generally Luka-centric offense was a recipe for team and/or teammate success. It didn't help that a stunning midseason trade for Kyrie Irving led to uneven results of its own, with injuries and clunky basketball leading the Mavs to sit both stars late in the season in order to preserve a protected draft pick rather than gunning for a play-in spot. With Doncic and the Mavs still licking their wounds from their first losing season since his rookie year, both player and team got to work during the 2023 offseason. For the Mavs, that meant re-signing Irving, trading for versatile big man Grant Williams, signing Derrick Jones Jr. and Dante Exum, and drafting and/or trading for the rights to Derek Lively and Olivier Maxence Prosper. For Doncic, it meant another summer spent carrying his national team, as he led all scorers at the 2023 FIBA World Cup, where Slovenia finished 7th. Back stateside, and with a more complete supporting cast around him, Doncic and a faster-paced Mavs team hit the ground running to open the 2023-24 campaign, the highlight of which saw Doncic score more points in a single game than any player since Kobe Bryant.
Luka splits a double. Keeps the dribble alive. All the way to the hoop. Scoop to the hoop with a ball. Points 71 and 72.
And 1.
Kobe 81. Wilt Chamberlain 78.
According to Basketball Reference's game score metric, Doncic's 73-point, 10 rebound, 4 assist performance on 25 of 33 shooting, no less, is the second best performance on record. That Doncic's 73-point eruption came against the Hawks of all teams is a fitting bookend to his story thus far. If only Atlanta had gotten to see him play Mizzou. The Mavs have tripped over themselves in search of the perfect co-star and supporting cast, but at least they got that 2018 draft night right, which Doncic has rewarded them for tenfold. Though the ink on his story has yet to dry, with plenty of chapters left to write, Doncic has already compiled a more impressive resume before his 25th birthday than most stars are even capable of by their 40th. He's a 5-time All-Star cruising toward a 5th All-NBA selection, with more All-NBA first-team selections in his first 5 seasons than all but 27 players in league history have accumulated over their entire careers. He also owns the highest 21st century scoring average of the nearly 2,400 players that have stepped foot on an NBA court over the last 24 years. From the day he arrived, he has dictated the terms of engagement to suit whatever pace he pleases. He's as gifted and dazzling a playmaker as any of his peers, a virtually unstoppable scorer who gets to his spots at will thanks to flawless footwork and freakish strength, and he's becoming impossible to keep off the free throw line, whether you agree with his foul baiting tactics or not. Every step of the way in his basketball journey, whether playing on a mini hoop as a toddler, sunning grizzled vets as a teenager in Spain, or dropping 73 points on helpless NBAers as a 24-year-old. Luka Doncic has looked like he was simply born to play this game. How lucky we are to be witnesses to this extraordinary basketball story. We'll never know what Phoenix, Sacramento, and Atlanta were thinking on that fateful night in 2018, but we know what all of Dallas is still singing in 2024 and beyond.
Hallelujah.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this video and want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button.